Deputy Secretary General Amina Mohamed said the summit provides both an opportunity and a challenge for the continent to address the issues that are integral to the future of young people in Africa, as the framework already exists.
The challenge of strengthening Africa's human capital, starting with its young people, has galvanized commitments to promote their rights and invest in quality and relevant education at all levels, in health, in science, technology, and in innovation.
The question of the African youth has recently occupied center stage in African discourse, as governments come under increasing pressure to deal with the problem before the situation gets out of hand. Now African leaders have recognized the urgency of the situation. It calls for a collective approach, given the huge risks associated with a disadvantaged or neglected young population as Africans.
Africa, we all know, is composed of young people at large. We call it the young continent. And this is a reflection reflected in all our countries, except especially in the Gambia. So having the presidents, having the leadership coming together to discuss on issues around young people is critical, because it's the first step towards the youth development and empowerment, having political commitment.
A detailed study of the needs and priorities of young people has been undertaken by the AU through the leadership of Chadian President Idris Deby Itno, and will be presented to the leaders during the summit. The document places emphasis on education, wealth creation and entrepreneurship, amongst others, the creation of an African Fund for Youth Development. If approved, it will mark a massive turnaround for the millions of young people across Africa. Mamadou Diallo, GRTS.
Gambians have welcomed Thursday's approval by the National Assembly of the government's 2017 draft revenue and expenditure estimate. Ibrahim Jallo has been sampling the public's opinion.
The previous budget did not take into account any budget support for the government for 2017, but this revised budget includes a budget support to the tune of $2.4 billion from our partners. Most of this support will come from the IMF, the World Bank, EU, and the African Development Bank.
The new budget estimate, according to the Finance Minister, seeks to cut government expenditure and net lending to match the available funds, which some Gambians think is a wise decision.
I think the government have the right information to be able to make that kind of decision, because every government has to live by its own means. You cannot live according to what you don't have. It's just like a human being. You cannot spend what you don't have. You cannot live on those terms. So it is good that the government is trying to cut costs based on the availability of the resources that the country has.
We just expect the government to act on what they have promised us, because you can remember during the campaign, when the coalition, when they were campaigning, they were telling us that the government needs a businessman, that is somebody that will revitalize the economy. So this is what we expect, and this is why Gambians were outside in the street to dance for freedom. Now it's high time for us to put that into practice.
The new government also disclosed plans to sell valuable assets, including 4 presidential planes obtained by the former regime. Minister Sani added that plans are already underway to recover allegedly stolen wealth in the interest of the nation. But what is the public's expectation?
It should cut down spending on other issues like renovation of the state house, like the former budgets we're doing, renovation of state house, many this traveling, government officials traveling out of the country, the big podium. This should cut down on those issues and then deal with the issues at hand in the country. Cut down on those spending, and then you spend wisely on the individual and the public who voted you in the youth. Spend them on the youth. Create more opportunities, spend them on the business. And the private sector is the only sector that can grow the economy. And the government needs to spend more money, encourage Gambian youth to take up the business challenge in order to develop this country. So I think we should be able to build democratic institutions that will be able to hold representatives, elected representatives to account. That's one thing, because if you don't have the institutions, it will be difficult to actually be able to make the necessary policies and to be able to build a society that we want for ourselves.
The Finance Minister called for fiscal and financial discipline in the use of public resources for sustainability. This young man believes he has some suggestion for the government
a lot of youth are actually very worried and very frustrated about the current state of development. We've seen in the past few years that a lot of young people leave the country through the what we call the back way, so-called illegal migration. So it's worrying that I think that we are not really taking much efforts to address those issues that affect them. So we need to focus on creating employment, creating opportunities for young people so that they can stay in this country.
We have to help ourselves. There are priority areas in the health. Everybody is crying about energy. So driving big cars and spending on fuel will not solve our economic problem.
The new government is poised to return the country's lost glories, but this requires drastic measures. Ibrahima Jallo, GRTS News.
The Gambia Standards Bureau recently organized a sensitization forum for its senior management, technical and laboratory staff on issues surrounding metrology measurements. Janke Ture tells us more.
This is the second phase of a nationwide metrology sensitization tour of health facilities by officials of the National Metrology Laboratory of the Gambia Standards Bureau. This sensitization is part of activities marking 2017 World Metrology Day. Ismaila Jadama, a metrologist at the Gambia Standards Bureau, elaborates on the significance of the event.
The objective of this sensitization is to ensure that health facilities across the country are aware of the importance of metrology, in particular calibration, to their health care delivery systems, mainly dealing with the calibration of measuring instruments. Because as we all know, decisions at health facilities are taken according to results, based on results obtained from measurements.
The purpose of this sensitization and calibration exercise is to raise awareness on good measurement practices and the role of the Gambia Standards Bureau in spreading the importance of calibration and measuring of devices.
This year is focusing on health facilities because we think health is a priority. So it doesn't only stop at health facilities, in our individual dealings in the markets, and in so many other spheres where measurement is practiced.
Keba Sonko, officer in charge of the facility, said he is with no doubt the training will improve their knowledge on metrology and calibration.
This exercise will definitely help us to improve the service and to know whether we are doing the accurate thing or not. Because calibrating some of the equipments will help us greatly to know whether the weighing scale or the blood pressure machine is accurate or not. If not, if they are not accurate, this will give us problem in diagnosing.
Metrology is defined as the science of measurements, and its importance is to ensure that measurements are accurate, reliable, and comparable. For GRTS News, I am Janke Ture.
The Chief of Defense Staff and a team today continued their tour of military facilities across the country with a visit to the Joint Operations Center and the Joint Officers Mess. Abdullah Baji accompanied the team, and this is his report.
The Chief of Defense Staff and his entourage continued their visits to military installations in the Greater Banjul area. The team visited the Joint Operations Center and the Joint Officers Mess. The Joint Operations Center strengthens the relationship among the various services and effectively help in maintaining peace and stability in the country.
Security management is not a one service or agency sole responsibility, but rather collective effort of all the security institutions in order to maintain the political, economic and social development of the nation. It is in line with this that the Joint Operations Center, in short JOC, was established in October 2011.
State Intelligence Service boss who took time to thank the joint forces for the stance they have taken in issues of national security, saying it is everybody's responsibility.
So we want to commend you for understanding the mission at hand. And I think it's important. National security is everybody's business. And the beauty about JOC, what I've observed is we are in no competition. And I think this is a message that should go across all services.
Addressing military personnel, the CDS described his tour of military facilities and personnel as crucial, saying it availed him the opportunity to see firsthand how work is faring and some of the challenges faced by the forces.
The Chief of Defense Staff tour was motivated as a result of the need for us to meet our personnel on the ground at their home turf, to be able to assess firsthand their working and living conditions, but also more importantly to open the channel of communication, the channel of dialogue for that we need at this crucial time between the leaders and their constituents.
The team later toured facilities of the Joint Operations Center and the Officers' Mess. The tour is expected to continue and take the CDS and team to other military facilities in the Greater Banjul area. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Abdullah Baji.
A 5-day training in youth engagement in sustainable development as well as peace building is underway in Bakau. The program targets youth from schools across the country to be trained in livelihood skills. Uminjai tells us more.
It is through active participation, young people are empowered to play a vital role in their own development as well as in that of their communities. This 5-day training organized by UNESCO together with UNFPA is one moving towards that direction. The training formed parts of UNESCO participation program on youth and student engagement to foster global citizenship, sustainable development initiatives and peace building in the Gambia.
Peace is not given as by magic. Peace is a gift of mankind to each other. It is those who give peace that have peace. Peace is a two-way street. To receive peace, you have to give peace. Nowadays, young people are highly engaged in transforming conflicts, countering violence, and building peace, for example, through universal access to information and communication technologies. Young people are often major drivers of political changes. Therefore, their role in building peace, preventing violent extremism, and any form of radicalization cannot remain unrecognized.
The training is expected to help youth participants foster their skills and learn more effective life skills that will prepare them for a brighter future.
It is a good thing to work with young people. But it's not only good, we're not doing young people a favor when we work with young people. We have no choice. It's important to say that. And I want you to know today that we have no choice but to work with you, but to support you, and to move you. Why do I say we have no choice but to work with young people? One is that young people are not just a demography. You're not just number in the population. You practically are the population.
Landing Sane from the Youth and Sport Ministry outlined his ministry's readiness in supporting youth empowerment, saying the future of the Gambia lies in the hands of the youth.
As a Ministry of Youth and Sports, we are very much encouraged with the fact that the young people of this country are a force to reckon with, bearing in mind that we've gone past through very difficult moments in the recent past. And I'm sure you will not doubt the fact that the young people have played a very, very critical role in the change of government primarily, and also in trying to institute a new government.
During the next 5 days, participants will be equipped with requisite knowledge such as peace education, entrepreneurship development, and global citizenship education, thereby enabling them to participate effectively in the country's development agenda. Omenjai, GRTS.
The National Assembly member for Birkama North, Honorable Alhaji Dabo, Monday visited Birkama Market, Car Park and Forest. As Farmer Akanyi reports, the move was meant to get first-hand information about conditions of the said public places.
Brikama, the regional administrative headquarters of the West Coast region, is one of the most densely populated settlements in urban Gambia. The city's growing population and infrastructural development attract lots of business in the region. However, Brikama has challenges, including improving the market and garage, as well as waste management, which cause illegal dump sites. All these problems were highlighted during a fact-finding mission undertaken by Honorable Alhaji S. Dabo, the National Assembly member for Brikama North. This is Brikama's only garage, located just at the center of the city. It is one of the busiest in the country. It also has waste collection issues. Businessman Chairman Matar Jallo said after years of degradation, the garage now needs a new facelift.
Our main problem in this car park is this front gate. You see here, you load, you want to go out, you cannot go out. And you have people who know that they are from nowhere. Just they are stealing people, people have complained, I lose my phone, I lose my wallet. And we call the authorities to come and help us. Sometimes they bring the police, but still we don't see any difference.
The tour is part of Honorable Dabo's efforts to improve his constituency and is welcomed by everyone. From the garage, the team moved to the market. The market's poor drainage system makes the place unbearable for sellers and buyers.
As a government, we are determined to make change in the Gambia, to change the livelihood of the ordinary people. And to do that, it's not only the government that can play part to effect a particular change. The government will take its part, and then the masses also are expected to play their quota. As members representing the masses, if they are concerned about anything, it is our duty to make sure we find out what are those things affecting them. Exactly this is what we are doing. People are concerned about the environment, and equally we should be concerned.
The market's only toilet has been turned into an illegal dump site.
If we meet with the stakeholders, we have an intention to devise a mechanism in which we can demarcate our kabilos into streets where, like, if it is going to be possible, we can provide a dustbin for those compounds where they'll be collecting their waste and put it in the dustbin. So we have the council and other agencies that can be created to come and collect them.
Similar situation is happening in the Nyambai forest, which is also being used as a dump site, a situation that worries forest officials. After visiting the entire sites, Honorable Dabo and his team promised to meet the officials of the Brikama Area Council and other stakeholders for urgent solutions. Reporting for GRCS News, I am Famara Kanyi.